Harden Engineering. We're the maker of the Switchblade guitars, and good to see you.
Notice this guitar, like this little design things that I'm noticing. Like the shape of the body's unique, obviously, and then you've got the fret, the markers on the neck. I mean, you don't usually see that. I think that a lot of times you find people making guitars, they're making a Stratocaster. And
I'm not interested in redoing a Stratocaster, a Telecaster, or a Les Paul because they're already perfectly good guitars and they've been done.
Right.
Obviously, we're kind of influenced by the 50s because I feel that was, like most people do, a great era of design in guitars. The Telecaster, I think, is a great design of guitar. A Les Paul is a great design of guitar. What makes this fun for me is that, it's my own design. It's not a copy of what everybody else is doing. Obviously, I like 50s guitars, but amazingly, I play like country and rockabilly and kind of made the guitar to do that, but a lot of people that buy the guitar play more like drop D tuning, heavy rock music, and they like the sound of it too. So, like any good guitar, if it's a good guitar, it can be used for lots of things.
Different things.
And a Les Paul Jr., you can play country with it, you can play Black Sabbath with it, So, a good guitar is just a good guitar,
Well, let me ask you this: do you make other models aside from the Switchblade? I mean, and I noticed that you do custom stuff too.
I do custom stuff. Sometimes people want maybe their own idea for a shape, which I'll do. In the past, I was making a different guitar every time. So for 10 years, I was just making kind of one-off guitars. And then I decided, hey, I want one guitar that I can kind of push, and so I wanted to make it an unusual thing so that people could look at this and say, that's a Harden guitar, because it's a different shape. But yeah, we do make different styles, and like this one over here is a hollow body.
I was going to ask you about that because you mentioning the rockabilly. When I think of rockabilly, I think of like a big old, like a Gretsch or a, those big Gibsons with.
Well, this is similar to that. This is a carved hollow body. A little bit different spin. This isn't really a production guitar, but we can't make it. I play, so this is a guitar that I use when I'm playing myself.
Tell me a little bit about the design of this one. I mean, I'm looking at the big holes in it. What's the difference? Usually, you see like the F hole or what's the.
Well, again, I don't really like to make a copy of something that's already been done. I just like the shape of that. This is a carved cedar top. They use cedar for a lot of classical guitars, so it's very resonant. Sound holes are a little bit bigger. What I made this guitar for is so that, if you can sit on your bed at night when you're practicing and play acoustically, and then you go out and you play your gig and you're playing the same guitar, it's better because you don't have to get used to something else.
So you're playing. I mean, this effectively sounds like an acoustic when you're sitting around.
Well, it's trying to combine the best properties of an acoustic and electric. When I'm sitting around late at night and just playing acoustically, it sounds good. When I'm at a gig and I'm cranked up, it sounds good like that. So whenever you're playing a hollow body like this, and this is a true hollow body, it doesn't have a blank of wood in the middle. It's a different animal than a solid body. But if you like that, depending on what type of music you like, that could be a good thing for you. It's a lot more live with a true hollow body.
Right. And this one. What about feedback? You always hear everybody's always with the feedback on the hollow bodies. How did you take that into consideration?
You have to take that into consideration when you're playing. That can be good or bad because if you want infinite sustain, you've got it.
Right.
But if you're not playing through a Marshall at 10, you can control it by where you stand. So it's a much more active thing. If you're standing real close to the amp, you're going to get feedback. That can be good because when you got your whammy bar going in feedback, you can get some cool stuff. If I step a couple feet away and face the other way,
get clearer sound. Now this is a nice looking guitar. So I mean, would you think about making this a production model, or is it more difficult to make? Is it?
It's a lot more work to make. Sure, I'd be willing to make it. This would have to be more in the $2,500 end of things,
because of the time alone you put into it.
Right. Well, what we're really trying to do with the company is actually produce something in America.
Right.
So that's why we try to keep the prices down so that people can afford to buy it. But you know, there's nothing made in America, and let's face it, America invented the electric guitar, and we've always made them the best. And so we're trying to continue that tradition. Why? Because it's fun to make guitars, and the people that work here love what we're doing. Nobody's getting $1 million for it, but we're doing what we want to be doing, you know. So, but we're trying to make something that's an excellent guitar with the qualities. You know, why are people willing to pay $40,000 for something that was made in Leo Fender's garage in the 50s? Because when you make it by hand, it's got a character to it. It's not just stamped out of a CNC machine. It's not just, the pickups aren't just wound by a machine. A person actually did that, and a musical instrument is a very personal item. And players can respond to that. And that's why people like the American guitars that were made the way we make them, which is just, we actually make them by hand.